So I appreciate the introduction and very excited to have Gabriel Mashad on the line to do our overview of Velixo cloud-based Excel report writer. Just to set things up a little bit, uh, Acunet has worked with Dynamics SL and Acumatica for pushing nearly 10 years on Acumatica and probably close to 30 on Dynamics SL. And we've seen a lot of changes in report writers. The publishers like Microsoft had FRX for years, and then they changed to Management Report Writer. And those changes caused problems for our customers because they had to do conversions. There were bugs in those software. And the reality of it is that many people were downloading those reports to Excel, using that to distribute. And increasingly, it became obvious that the preferred way to consume financial and project information from ERP systems is with a cloud-based Excel oriented report writer. And that's the breakthrough that um, Velixo and Gabriel have put together. And his organization is improving this product rapidly, and it is just becoming the standard for our customers. So with that, in just a second, Gabriel, I'm going to turn the screen over to you. You can go ahead and grab the screen if you like with Teams.
Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to take a look at Velixo reports. My baby, if I can say, it's something that I've been working on for the last few years. Before I get started, I simply wanted to thank Mike, Casati, and everyone at Acunet for making this possible. We work with the Acumatica Partner Channel, and our relationship with companies like Acunet is extremely important because the consultants that work for our partners are trained and certified on Velixo, and they're really the best ambassadors that we can get for this wonderful product that I will be showing you today. My name is Gabriel Michaud, and I am the founder of Velixo. I spent all my life working on ERP software, mainly as a software developer, and also doing implementations of multiple ERP solutions, including Acumatica. I stumbled on Acumatica around 2009, and we immediately decided to sign up and become Acumatica partners. My company that was based in Montreal, Canada, became the first Acumatica partner in the country. And we had lots of pleasure localizing, customizing, integrating, and implementing the solution with various companies in our country, but also in the United States and France at some point. I eventually sold this business and decided to join Acumatica full-time, where I worked as part of the Acumatica product management team. I'm back on my own since 2017, and since I love the Acumatica platform and the Acumatica family so much, I've decided to dedicate my company and everything that we do to this wonderful product. And what you will see today is the Velixo Reports, a product that we built from the ground up for Acumatica. Velixo is used by companies worldwide. We have partners in multiple countries that are implementing and supporting Velixo clients. And we have companies in very remote places like Papua New Guinea, Tanzania, Namibia, and Southeast Asia that are also using the product. The story behind this solution goes back many years ago. Very early in my career, I was working on a brand new ERP solution as the lead software developer. At some point, we started noticing that our customers were not very happy about the reporting tools and the reports that were included with our application. So we started doing customer interviews, looking at what people were really looking for. And one thing became clear very quickly. No matter what we would do or what we could do, customers would always go to Excel by exporting the reports and manipulating the reports to look exactly the way they wanted. The reason is because Excel is so simple. Everyone knows how Excel works, and Excel is also everywhere. So it's really the go-to tool for presenting financial reports, project reports, and all sorts of ad hoc analysis that is made very easy with Excel. So around 2001, 2002, someone on my team had a wonderful idea. What if we brought our application to Excel and added new functions that would make it easy to build the reports that the people need? So this is where I first got introduced to the idea of integrating Excel and an ERP application. What I learned by building this tool has been instrumental in the design of the Velixo reports that I am presenting you today. I was able to work with clients using Excel, using an ERP solution, and truly understand their needs, what they're trying to achieve, and also what are some of the limitations and pitfalls of using Excel for reporting. So this is very important knowledge that I was able to leverage in designing Velixo reports for Acumatica. I'm not pretending that I was the first person to come up with this idea. Over the years, there's been multiple attempts and vendors that build solutions like Velixo. So if you have worked with dynamic solutions, you might have run into Jet reports. There's another product called F9 that it was quite popular at some point. BizNet, Hyperion, Alchemex. There's been countless solutions. But I'm absolutely convinced that what you will see today is the best solution on the market today. And it's definitely the only solution that was built from the ground up for Acumatica and by Acumatica experts. Velixo adds a new toolbar to Excel. That is the Acumatica toolbar, so it's impossible to miss, as well as a set of over 60 functions that you can use in your Excel spreadsheets. The functions that we add to Excel are very simple functions. We're really targeting financial and project managers with this solution. So if you know Excel, you already know how Velixo works. The functions are extremely simple to use and do not require any specialized knowledge or programming knowledge. Since this is a solution that was built for Acumatica only, we're also able to leverage some of the best and also some of the unique capabilities of Acumatica. As you will see in my presentation, we have features such as Smart Drill Down, the Unified Security Model, and Write Back that are made possible thanks to the very tight integration that we have with Acumatica. Our solution is an Acumatica certified application. As a matter of fact, Acumatica is even one of our customers. They've been using Velixo since 2017. And Velixo is now the most popular add-on in the Acumatica ecosystem. We have over 400 companies worldwide using this product. And if you visit acumatica.com and look for Velixo, you will see that we have a large number of 5-star reviews. Actually, every single review on acumatica.com that you can find is a 5-star review. So customers truly love this product. We've won multiple awards over the years. This picture that you see right now was taken at the last Acumatica Summit. So just a few weeks before this pandemic started. So thankfully we were able to meet in person and have a lot of fun with the Acumatica team, with our partners and the customers that were attending this event. So we won 4 different awards at the last Acumatica Summit, and I'm very, very confident that we can repeat this in the future. Again, user friendliness and simplicity of this tool is key. Specialized reporting solutions often require you to spend days, if not weeks, training, rebuilding your reports, learning something new, and you usually end up having to rely on consultants and having like their phone number on speed dial. This is not the point here. And Mike, I know customers enjoy working with you, but at some point, people need answers now, and a tool like Velixo is extremely important. I'm sure you will agree, right?
Absolutely. It's the independence that you get with this tool that is so key.
Yes. The only thing you need to know to use Velixo is Excel. If you know Excel, you can do it. The installation is very simple. It takes 15 seconds, and within 5 minutes, you're ready to start building your first report. We're going to do that together today. I will take you through the entire process of deploying and implementing Velixo with you. It's so simple that we can do it in just a few minutes. Every single function that we add to Excel is fully documented. So as you type the function in your spreadsheet, Excel will tell you how to use it. And then you can also find detailed documentation on the Velixo website online. So we have extensive information, videos, and much more that is available online. And you always have your Acumatica partner as well. So the team as Acunet has been trained on Velixo. They have multiple customers using the product, and they're also available to help you should you have any questions. But really, the goal here is to have complete independence and give you the ability to build the reports you need when you need them. With that said, I think a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I would like to spend most of the time that we have scheduled together today building reports and looking at what this product can do for you. If you have any questions, please enter them in the chat window, and we will try to answer as soon as possible. I noticed that Mike already wrote something here. I have the chat window open, so if possible, I will try to work in some of the answers during my demonstration, and we will definitely take some time at the end to answer your questions. So let's get started. I will add to my desktop, and the first thing that we will be doing together is to install Velixo on this computer. I have the installation package right here. This is the same package that every user, at least on Windows devices, will be receiving. You simply double click and click install, and in about 15 seconds, we will be good to go. The good news is that a single license of Velixo will cover every single users inside your organization. If you have multiple devices, multiple people that either need to run or build reports or simply refresh existing reports, they will have the ability to do so without having to pay extra fees for additional licenses. Just like Acumatica has an unlimited users licensing model, Velixo works the same way. One license, everyone. You can even involve people that are not directly working in your organization. So if you have an external accountant that works with you, or anyone that needs to look at a project report. So let's say you have a customer that wants to have real-time access into a project status report, just for one project, it's very important. We have security. You can do that as well.
A key thing there, Gabriel, is that it costs nothing to open this up to people that are doing budgeting, auditors, bankers. I mean, anybody that might need access, and we can control that security so that they only see what you want them to see.
Exactly, Mike. Yes, and I will mention security again when we log in to Acumatica, and I will explain what's possible and how far you can go with the Acumatica security features. Let's create a new workbook and take a look at the menu bar in Excel. You should notice that we have a new menu here called Acumatica. It's called Acumatica. It's impossible to miss. So let's click on the Acumatica menu and see what we have in the ribbon right here. The Acumatica ribbon is the main user interface component of Velixo. So this is your first contact with the product and what you will use to link your spreadsheets to Acumatica or to refresh an existing workbook. Then in your spreadsheet, you will have access to the 60 different functions that I mentioned, and that will let you work with financial data, project data, and generate inquiries that you may have set up in Acumatica. Since I just set up a new not set up, but since I just created a new spreadsheet, I will first link or connect the spreadsheet to my Acumatica system. To do so, I simply click on the connection manager and then click add connection. Setting up a connection is very easy. I just need to name the connection, enter the URL, the tenant name. So you may or may not be familiar with that, but Acumatica allows you to create multiple tenants. So individual environments within a same site, so where everything is completely isolated. So if you run different companies that are not part of the same group, if you have subsidiaries in different countries, or simply just a test environment, this would be set up in a separate tenant in your Acumatica system. In my case, I want to connect to a tenant called company. It's very simple, and I will type that. Finally, I'm ready to log in by entering my credentials. The username and the password that I'm using to log in from Excel are the same credentials that I normally use from my web browser. So let's just take a look, because this is very important to understand. What you enter here to log into Acumatica is what will ultimately define your access rights and what you have access to. You could only have access to some of the branches or just one of the companies in Acumatica. So this is something that may already be set up in your environment, and this is something that will also work transparently with Velixo. Unlike some of the specialized BI and reporting solutions, Velixo deeply integrates with Acumatica and leverages as much as possible of your existing infrastructure. And that extends to security and like pretty much every single security feature in Acumatica. So right here, you can see the company and branch list. I have access to everything, but there are users within my company that only have access to the products retail division, for example, and this is only what they'll see inside Excel. Next, Acumatica lets you configure security at the module or at the screen level. If you're building project reports, well, you might want your project managers to have access to the project section. Where is that? Projects. Looking for it. Actually, projects. Oh yes, right here. It was right in the middle. So if you have project managers, for example, that need to build and run reports, you might want to grant them access to this section, but not your financials. So this way people could access the project functions, and you might even restrict this further and decide which projects in particular are accessible to a group. So this is done by a feature that Acumatica calls restriction groups. And as long as you or your Acumatica consultant sets this up in Acumatica, it will work in Velixo when you build and run reports. Let's type my username and my password, and I will click connect. By the way, if you're using single sign-on with Azure Active Directory with one login, is it one login or Okta? So like anything that uses external or two-factor authentication can also work with Velixo. My connection is set up. This means that I'm ready to start building my first report. By the way, it is possible to add multiple connections to a single file. So if you have different tenants, you can add multiple connections and then build consolidated reports using Velixo, okay? Once again, I see that this question came through while I was closing the window. We do support single sign-on. You just need to use this little button here instead of entering your username and password to connect to Velixo. So let's close the window. I'm ready to start building my report. What I would like to do with you now is a simple trial balance. We will start with a simple financial report, and then we will move on to more complete examples and also project reports that we will be using, since this is something that is very important to customers that work with Acunet and that are on this call today. The trial balance that I want to build now with you will be quite simple. Just 3 columns. I want my account code, my account name, and then the account balance in column C. So I could just go ahead and enter all my GL accounts here. But instead of doing that, I mean, it's very manual. And after all, we have a tool and we're trying to eliminate manual operations. I'm going to go back to the Acumatica toolbar and click Insert Chart of Accounts. Almost instantly, you will see that I have now every single GL account listed in the spreadsheet. If you take a look at cell A5, you might notice that there's a new function that was added in this cell. It is the expand account range function. And expand account range is one of the functions that Velixo adds to Excel. So you could actually type that yourself directly in the spreadsheet, and the chart of accounts would appear. Through the different arguments of this function, you can even filter. So let's say you're only interested in revenue accounts. You could just enter the first digit of your revenue accounts followed by 4 question marks, and the list would update in real time. This is a dynamic list, okay, which means that if you add new accounts and then refresh this report in Excel, that the list will update and reflect the changes in your Acumatica chart of accounts. Let's continue now with the account name or the account description. As you might have guessed already, we're going to use an Excel function once again to access this information from Acumatica. Let's type it. So I will just do equal and then slowly type account name. Notice that Excel shows us a list of possible matches. So every function that starts with account will show up. These were all Velixo functions. We'll be looking at some of these functions later. But I simply wanted to make sure that you notice that Excel gives you contextual assistance while you're typing a function. The account name function is very simple to use. You just need to enter the connection name followed by the account code. So you could just enter the account code here, but really what we want to do is reference the value in column A. So I can simply click on A5 here, and Excel will put this in my function. Let's press enter, and you'll see that we now have the account name. Let's drag this down, and now we have account code and account name for every single account. And to finish our report, what I will do now is add my balance. Before I do that, and because I want to have more flexibility in my report, I will add a filter to look at my ledger code. I will also want to filter by sub-account later, so let's add that right away. And very important, I need to have my financial period. This is information that is needed to calculate any GL balance. It's the same thing in Acumatica. So obviously, if you want to calculate a balance, you have to tell the system when this balance should be calculated for, and what is the account code, and whether you should filter by company, branch, or sub-account. This is effectively what we're doing here. And this is just an example, by the way. So you can lay out your spreadsheets any way you want or any way you like. I will show you much nicer examples in just a few minutes. For my balance, I have another function. Again, very simple. You can type equal account ending balance. But what I would like to show you instead is a way or a tool that shows you every single function that is available in Excel. This is the insert function button, and it's right here. If you have Excel open on your computer right now, you can take a look. This is something that you already have, and I mean, maybe you're already familiar with it. So let's click and take a look at the category dropdown. I'll scroll down, and you will notice that we have new Acumatica functions that show up. Acumatica project writeback functions, list functions. So this is what we use here for expand account range, general ledger functions, so anything that relates to the financial module, project functions. So if you want to access project costs, revenue, budgets, committed amounts, quantities, hours, this is what you use. Audit functions, and finally, generate inquiries function. That's a very powerful tool, and we will look at that as well later today. Let's go back to GL. We're building a trial balance. I want to look at the general ledger and pick account ending balance. The nice thing with this window is that you can simply follow the instructions on screen and just go from argument to argument. The first one is the connection. Okay, every Velixo functions will ask you for the connection name. This is actually how we're able to differentiate from one connection to another connection when you build consolidated reports that include data from multiple connections. Next is my ledger. Okay, so it says ledger to use for calculation. This happens to be right here in C1. My account code. I have a sub-account filter. This is optional, so it says optional in the description here, and right now it's blank. So effectively what will happen is that Excel will include every single sub-account in the calculation. This is what I'm expecting now. We have a branch filter, and finally a date. Okay. Right now, I'm using a financial period, but one of the nice things with the latest Velixo version, Velixo 6, is that you can also use a date. So you're no longer limited to financial periods. This is very important for customers in banking. We have customers in hospitality services, the restaurant industry, and it's very important for them to build daily or weekly profit and loss reports, and we make that possible with the latest version of Velixo. Something else that's also possible on the financial side is the ability to run reports that will include unposted transactions. So if you want to create provisional reports, you can do that. This is just an extra argument here that you can set up. Okay, so just to recap, if you take a look, the function that we have, it's right here. It's very simple: connection name, ledger, account code, sub-account, and financial period. Let's click OK, copy this down, and just like magic, we see the Acumatica account balance for every single account in the organization. At this point, we're done. Okay, Velixo is set up. We have a fully functional report, and I can just save this, share it with my colleagues, and all you have to do if you want to see up-to-date information is click refresh all right here, and the system will pull the latest data from Acumatica and show you the latest values. Everything is real time. There's no synchronization wait. There is no delay. So if you are entering new transactions, you will see the changes reflected in your spreadsheet immediately. One thing that you can do at this point as well is change the filters or the values in your spreadsheet that are used in the formulas or functions that we use. This is the same thing that you can do in Excel. So let's say you have a sum of two values here. So 3 plus 4 equals 7, and you change the value here to 10. So Excel understands that the sum here needs to be recalculated. It is the exact same thing with all the functions in Velixo. This means that if you change the financial period here and press enter, that Excel will recalculate everything. Did you notice how fast that was? There's no trick. We have built a very fast data extraction and calculation engine, and this lets you use Excel the way you like, okay? Velixo is Excel. Everything works just like Excel. So let's say you want to copy paste because you want to compare your actuals with your budget. Well, let's change the ledger and look at the numbers. If you want to have a calculation, so maybe you want to do a variation or variance check, can do that. So equals C minus D, copy this. It's very simple, okay? So once you understand these basic concepts, you're pretty much able to use all the different functions and features in Velixo. There's a few more things that I would like you to know. For example, how you can combine and group together multiple accounts, or because this will also apply to projects. But instead of doing it from this file, I will open another one and look at a much nicer looking example. Let's click here, log in again. So again, this is our security. And let's take a look at this file here. So this is the last financial example that we will be looking at today. I know that some people on the call today are eagerly awaiting project reports examples, and I have multiple project examples. So we'll definitely be looking at that together in a few minutes. So this is a complete financial reporting package that we built using the same functions that you've been looking at so far. In this file, we have all sorts of nice layout and formatting options that are available in Excel and that we're using. For example, I have my logo at the top here. I've added a drop down that lets me quickly switch to different branches or business units. I'm using conditional formatting right here in the variance column, so the nice green and red arrows. I also have data groups. So the total expenses section here can be collapsed and expanded. You could even add multiple groups. This is a standard Excel feature. Very important in the context of reporting, you often need to have different data views, different reports, different data sets, or different data points within the same file. So by simply creating new sheets right here at the bottom, you can have, for example, a P&L that looks at the last 12 months of activity. You could have a nice dashboard. So this is a simplified income statement that looks at a few key data points in my organization, a cash flow statement, a trial balance, and a few additional reports that I have as part of this file. So it's very easy to include that in your reports and build absolutely any type of financial project or Acumatica operational report by using the different functions and tools that we have in the Acumatica toolbar. Speaking of the Acumatica toolbar, there are many utilities that you will find extremely valuable when building your own reports. We'll be looking at pretty much everything that we have here today during this call. But before we go too far, I would really like to show you the smart drill down feature. Hey, Mike, have you demoed or demonstrated this feature to clients recently? And if so, what was the feedback you got? I'm curious.
Not in the last couple of months, but absolutely, it's a critical piece. I mean, I've had people tell me the drill down feature alone justifies the whole product.
Yeah, I'm hearing the same as well from clients. Usually, I can like hear like jaw drops in the Teams or Zoom meetings. So anyway, let me show you what a smart drill down does, and you will understand why it's smart drill down and not just drill down. So what is the business problem that we're trying to solve here? You have a spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet contains a bunch of numbers, and you need a way to reconcile the numbers that you see. Whether it's a financial report or a project report, you need a way to verify that this matches what you have in your Acumatica system. Acumatica is your single source of truth. This is your central system of records, and Velixo provides you with the best tool to reconcile and compare the numbers in your spreadsheet with what you have in your Acumatica system. With Smart Drill Down, you simply click on any cell in your spreadsheet. So that can be this line here, advertising, that is an Acumatica account calculation, or an Excel formula like sum here, okay? So this is summing up all my expenses. Let's try it there. So I want to see what's behind this number here. What are the different GL accounts and even transactions that make up the total that you see right here? I simply select the cell, go to the Acumatica toolbar and click drill down. So drill down will crunch the numbers, analyze the formula, and then print out the list of cells where Acumatica data was found. As you can see, for some of the cells like here, D20, you have multiple lines. So the system gives you a summary of all the different GL accounts, sub-accounts, and branches that are included in this cell. For each combination, you see the debits and credits in the period and the total that you see. So you could technically do debit minus credit here, and this will match what you have in the total expenses section. If you want to look at a specific line or specific account, you can use the hyperlink that you see in the source cell column. So let's click on D20. As you can see in D20, we have a few different GL accounts. And let me explain how that's done. So I'll click on D20 here, and I will expand columns A and B. So this is actually pointing to an Acumatica account class. This is a group of accounts, and in this group of accounts, we have multiple GL accounts. So Velixo is able to work with your Acumatica account classes as well. And if you want to list individual account codes instead, you can also do that by using wildcards and account ranges. So we've done that here in the revenue section. So just to say that you have very flexible ways to group and combine together multiple accounts, multiple projects, account groups, cost codes, and so on. Let's go back to the drill down. And now let's try to get more details on one of the lines. So this travel expense here looks a bit suspicious. I'm wondering what this is, and I will click on view transactions. When you click on view transactions, Velixo will open your web browser and take you to the Acumatica account details or the Acumatica project details screen if you're working on a project report. And what you will see is the full list of transactions that are posted to the account I just clicked on. There's only one in this case, but if you were looking at a different period, you might have multiple lines that show up in this grid. Since you're now working in Acumatica, this means that you can click on the reference number and even see the original document that generated this journal transaction. So let's give it a second, and Acumatica will open the expense. This one is actually an employee expense reimbursement for an hotel, so 201.73. Recall this is the same number we had in Excel. And then at this point, if you have any files that were attached, actually, one second, not this one here. If you have a file attached, I just add a file attached to a different financial period, so I switch. But what I wanted to show you is that if you have files that are attached to a transaction, you can click, and Excel, not Excel, but Acumatica will bring up the file that was attached to your transaction. Okay. So just to recap, thanks to Smart Drill Down, you can go from any cell in your spreadsheet back to the original documents and transactions in your ERP system. It even works on formulas and calculations, and it's as simple as selecting the cell and hitting drill down. By the way, I know that we have a few Excel Power users and then maybe even existing Velixo users on this call. So I would just like to point out that you can also right click and select drill down right here to use the Smart Drill Down feature. This example and every single example that I will be showing today is available on the Velixo website. This is a question that new users often ask us, and we do make available these files on our website. From Velixo, you can click on Support Center, or you can simply visit support.velixo.com and then just search Sample Excel Reports. And you will find this article that contains the report that we're looking at, and the next one that I will be showing you for construction and project reports. By the way, support.velixo.com is a wonderful resource if you have questions on Velixo, every single function is documented. So earlier we were working on account ending balance. So you can click on the function name from Excel and get to this page. So this is full documentation of the function. Finally, one last thing I'd like to mention is that we have how-to guides, including video tutorials. So in the video section here, we have a set of very short and concise videos that cover different areas of Velixo. So how to install, how to connect, how to use filters, how to group together multiple lines. And it goes all the way to the more advanced features that we have available. Mike, was there anything you wanted to add on samples?
No, just as you said, a common thing people request, and boy, if you've got a base to start with, it really helps jumpstart your work.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And also remember that it's very easy to build something from scratch. We actually built a trial balance together earlier. I took time to explain all the different functions, but really this is something that with some practice, you will be able to build in like 2 minutes, literally. Many companies that we also work with are already using Excel. And I'm sure this is the case with practically everyone on this call today. If you have existing spreadsheets that you have been painfully updating and maybe by copy pasting or exporting Acumatica data, you don't have to throw them away. You can just install Velixo, add the connection, and then over time, add the new functions and formulas that will give you the ability to do one-click refreshes in the future. So that's another benefit of using an industry standard tool like Excel for your reporting needs. It is very easy to get started. You're not forced to start over, and then you become an expert in no time. Okay, let's switch to projects now. I have another report that I will open and that I will use to highlight the different project reporting capabilities of Velixo. Perfect. Okay. This is a file that we built by using the different functions that are available in Velixo. Earlier in my introduction, I mentioned that we have around 60 functions. I'd like to point out at this time that more than 50% of the functions that we have are fully dedicated to the Acumatica project module. The reason is because the Acumatica project module covers a lot more ground than financials. You have quantities and amounts, you have commitments, you have budgets, forecasts, and many different aspects or values that can be accessed and retrieved from Excel. In this example, we have a dashboard that we built using standard Excel charting and slicers. So you can quickly look at the overall snapshot of your organization. So what are my projects that are active, completed, suspended, top 5 projects by amount, where I'm spending my money. And then if I want, I can refine this. Let's say I want to look at active projects only and maybe look at projects that are managed by Steve. I can do that. I simply click and Excel will refresh. So this is a simple Excel dashboard built using standard Excel features. But what drives the data here and the numbers is Acumatica with Velixo. Let's switch to the portfolio tab. This is a project portfolio that lists every single project that is currently assigned to John, one of my project managers. The list of projects here is completely dynamic, and all the values that you see for budget, for actuals, are retrieved by using the different project-related functions that we include in Velixo. Let's take a look at one of these functions. You will see that it's actually quite simple and very similar to how we retrieved financial data earlier. I will click on actual revenue here. And then you see we have a function called project ending amount. And this functions work with a project code. So my project code is here. A task. So if you want to filter on a specific project task, you just enter the task code here. An account group or multiple account groups. Actually, this is what we have in this case. So account groups could be labor, materials, some subcontracting, travel. This is something that is usually set up by your Acumatica consultant during implementation. So in my case, I have a list of account groups that I want to include for my expenses, and it happens to be in H1, so in another cell. Then you have cost codes. So this is something that was added in the Acumatica construction edition, but it's actually available for non-construction users as well. So this is one more way to refine the entries that you make and provide more granular data in your budget and your actuals. Finally, you have inventory items. So this could also be a non-stock item, period, and a branch. We also let you report if you have multi-currency projects, or if you're doing projects in a different currency, you can also retrieve amounts using the project currency. I believe that this is exclusive to Velixo. I'm not sure if this is possible using the built-in reporting tools in Acumatica, but this is clearly something that our customers are using and have requested. So I simply wanted to let you know that this is available for you in Velixo. Invoices, so we build a very simple aging report here by project. Using, again, standard Velixo formulas to retrieve invoices, project list. This one is a detailed project report. So for one project, we're looking at cost by cost code. So let's scroll down, you'll see the different cost code, and then we have budget, change orders, monthly cost, cost to date, cost remaining based on budget, okay? And this is listed for a single project. At the top here, this is a project summary. So this is just a roll-up of the values you have in the grid. In some cases, we're using Velixo formulas, so like project budget amount here. And in other cases, this is simply summing up the data that you have in the spreadsheet by using the very familiar sum function of Excel. Here's a WIP report. So this is a different report that is often requested. This one lists all the projects currently active by task, and then we have a breakdown by account group. So materials, labor, miscellaneous expenses, travel, burden. So all represented in different columns. So earlier I mentioned that Smart Drill Down works in project reports as well, and I would like to show you an example of that. Let's go back to my project report here, and let's look at something like insurance. So wow, $31,000. That seems quite high for a single financial period. So let's click on drill down and see what happens. For project transactions, you will see a breakdown again by cell. And for each one, you will see a list of the different projects, cost codes, and account groups that were included. I believe that there's an error in this one, R41. I think the function might be referencing. Yeah, this is because I'm doing a delta of 2 months, so this is why I'm getting more data than expected. But let's go to cost to date instead. This one will make more sense when I'm drilling down. So 158,335, yes, so 158,335 in this case, and we just have L41. So this is what we were looking for. You can click on any line. So if you want to look at a specific period here, you can click on View Transactions. And then you'll see all the transactions that were posted to the selected entry of the selected project task, and account. So just like you saw earlier with financial transactions, you can drill down. I can access the original project transaction. And from there, I can potentially view and actually, where's the link? Project task. Oh, through the batch, so I have to go through the batch number and then source document right here. Okay, so you see like the full audit history. So from the original 80 transaction to the project allocation and the report that you have in Excel.
Gabriel, this is so important for project-driven businesses. The project manager's life is basically analyzing what costs have hit their project. Are they valid? And did we bill them in a lot of cases to the client that they're working for to make sure that their costs are getting moved into revenue when possible?
Yes, and thanks to the flexibility of Excel, it's very easy to create KPIs or indicators. This is a good example here in the project portfolio. So this one is critical. To your point, this is not related to billings, but rather profitability and actuals versus budget. So we budgeted. One second, I need to refresh. I built that a long time ago. Yeah, so actually the reason this one says critical is because our expenses are almost twice the budget right now. But if you care about billings and you want to ensure that your billings match your progress, you could also add your own indicator here. So you could create a new column and then add billing status and whatever is the rule or the logic that you want to use for your particular organization. Okay. Beside the different reporting functions for GL and projects, we also have GI functions, so functions to access your Acumatica generic inquiries. Some of you might have noticed here that we already have GIs in this report. So this is what we use to retrieve the list of projects and what we use for the invoicing aging report. I'd like to build something from scratch with you just to show you the flexibility that the generic inquiry functions give you. This is something that is quite new. We introduced that in Velixo around a year ago, and this has quickly turned into a very, very popular enhancement. By the way, speaking of enhancements, we release new versions of Velixo around twice a year with new features, most of which are based on customer feedback. Velixo 6 was just released to Velixo customers, and if you go to our website at velixo.com, in the blog section, you will see articles that cover some of the new features in Velixo. Anytime that we release a new version, you will receive this update prompt. Oh, not in this one. One second. I just want to show you where the update prompt is. So I think it was in my V5 release. Yeah, right here. So anytime we release a new Velixo version, you will see this window when you open Excel. I know that there's a few existing Velixo users on the call today, so don't worry if you haven't seen the Velixo 6 update prompt yet. We're slowly rolling that out to existing users, and in a week or so, everyone should be on a Velixo 6. Just to say that the update process is simple. You just click update, and in around 15 seconds, you're on the new version. So back to generic inquiries. Let's go to Acumatica again, and so we're going to work out the project report. So let me switch my project company and go. Actually, let's make this fun. I'm doing the same demo like multiple times a week, and I like challenges. So Mike, anything interesting that you would like me to pull from Acumatica by using a GI? Like, challenge me, please.
What my customers always want to see is anything that is expense related for a project manager. But you may have already had that, right?
Okay. No, I have a challenge. I'm sorry, Gabriel. This is Mike in Acumatica. I have some challenges. So we have a customer who does monthly budgets, and they want to change. So if you go into project management, and you go in, I'm sorry, I'm looking for the regular projects.
Okay, let's go to the other one. I was in the construction, so here, yes.
Yes, so if we go there, so if we go to projects and then project budget forecast, and then they want to adjust these by month.
Okay.
So their budget is put out at 100% over a period of time, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and the first month is only 40%, 40, 20, 40, 40, 10, 5, so it's 100%. But then they want to adjust it every month. Instead of going here, we want them to go into a Velixo workbook, adjust it there, because Excel has, I mean, Acumatica has some problems adding and subtracting and dividing and multiplying here. If we do it in Velixo and then upload it, it would be perfect every time.
Okay.
And it could be looked at by the project managers.
Okay. I'm smiling, Michael, because we have something that is specifically built to address this scenario. I'm not even going to use a GI, and actually, let's work on that now, because I think you made a compelling case why this is needed and why we built this in place. So, you never saw it?
I have not seen it in Velixo.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so in Velixo, we have something called writeback. Writeback lets you update Acumatica data without leaving Excel. Initially, we offered two writeback modules, one for GL entries, journal transactions, and another one for budget, so your like standard Acumatica financial budget. In Velixo 6, you have project forecast writeback that you can use to update something like what you see right here, okay? This forecast here. Writeback works the same way, so no matter if you're using GL, budget, or project forecast, you always start with a project forecast worksheet. Let's click here and create a new worksheet. What we give you out of the box is something that is like literally identical to the Acumatica project forecast screen. So you have one column for the task, account group, inventory ID, cost code, period, and then quantities. What I think most customers want is something a little bit different in terms of presentation. So the original reason, or like what really kickstarted this project, is a customer that we work with that needed to forecast 5 years out. Okay, with so that's like 60 months. So imagine if you have multiple account groups, cost code, and then 60 rows per combination, that becomes impossible to manage. Instead, they wanted to have one column per financial period and do the writeback this way. And this is possible by using the Velixo project forecast feature, because we're using a writeback function. So behind the scenes here in column K, you'll see a function called writeback project forecast. So let's do that with this little project here, fixed P05. And okay, let's update revision 1. And I'll add this one here. So this is 01 task PM. By the way, you could export that from Acumatica. It's very simple, so I'm just typing it. Inventory ID sub hours, no cost code. And hello Velixo here. Let's just change the description as well. And we will add, let's add a budget for 01/2021. Hopefully the period is open. And I'll put that in the revised quantity. So let's put 40 hours, and that will be, let's say, $2,800. Okay, so just one line. Okay, but I want to make this simple now, just to show you the basics. So here's where the magic happens. You can click import current worksheet. It will take the values that you have here. And then it will update Acumatica. So let's refresh. You'll see that I have my new line. Okay, still basic and not yet addressing the requirement that you explained, Mike, but I'm getting there. Okay, now let's change this a bit, and instead of having a financial period column like that, let's add total hours to budget, say hourly rate. And I want to budget, let's say, 400 hours at $70 per hour. and I'll do that across period 1, period 2, period 3, period 4. Let's keep that simple. And I'll put the period numbers here. So actually, Velixo as functions to work with financial periods. So let's use them as well. Year, start period 1. So this one will be equal financial period, the year that I have in F3, the period that I have in F4, and plus or minus something here, 2, 3, 4. We'll just add 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now I have my 4 periods, and I can then, and Michael, you said you want to work with percentages?
Yeah, they work with percentages. They say that a certain percentage is going to be completed every period.
Okay. So I'll just put the percentage here, okay? Again, this is completely ad hoc, and like everyone, we did not rehearse this or discuss previously. Like Mike, idea.
I was trying to torture you, Gabriel.
Huh? Sorry.
I am trying to torture you, Gabriel.
I love this, and I could do this on stage at the Acumatica Summit as well. I love challenges. Okay, so we've added percentages. Okay, and then I mean let's make that more fancy here. So is that 100? Yes. Okay, so just 4 periods. You could have more. You could add more columns.
Sure.
And then I need to add my write back function. So write back project forecast demo. My project is here. My revision is here. And for good measure, let's make that a fixed reference. I have my task in this column here. Account group, inventory ID. No, that's not the period. 1 second. The period is here. And then I have an inventory item here, and we're just going to set the revised quantity and revised amount. So revised quantity, that will be total hours multiplied by period 1. Revised amount, it will be total hours multiplied by period 1 multiplied by rate. Okay, so that should do it for period 1. Okay, and then Excel did not like that because it added an extra column. I'm working with a data grid, so this, 1 second, it says error task is required. Okay, right back period 1, task is required. Where did I forget? Task.
Now, for the people like us, we can hit the F of X and it'll tell us exactly what we're looking at, right? As we add things to it.
Yes. Where is my task? A8. Oh, it says, oh, there's an error in my formula. Yeah, okay. Excel error value for revised amount. So total hours to budget multiplied by this, multiplied by rate. So what is this? Okay, multiplied by the rate. Okay, so it turns out that the problem is here in the rate column. Okay, that works. I don't know what I did wrong. It might be the $sign. Okay, so now we have the write back for period 1 that is pending. And let's do the same thing for my 3 other columns. So you need to use the write back formula everywhere. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and this should be using, oh yeah, I need to change it here. It needs to be period 2, period 2, period 3, period 3, and then period 4 and period 4. Okay, so let's try it, and fingers crossed, but I'm very confident this will work. By the way, you would typically hide the write back formulas. They don't need to be visible. Okay, so one thing you could do is add a data group. This is only used by Velixo to put the information back, but you can definitely hide this. So Acumatica, project forecast write back, import. It was quick. Let's take a look. Oh, we have new rows, and it looks like the percentages work as well. So revised quantity and revised amount were updated based on our percentages. So let's say we change our forecast. Things were a bit slow last month, and we'll catch up in March. We can do that. Click import back to Acumatica, and it's updated. So Mike, is that a workable solution?
That is a perfect solution, because we don't want to have to train the PM manager, the project managers, to know, and they can easily recognize those percentages and know that they're at 100%. That's a perfect solution for their problem. And though it's a bigger problem, this is right where we want to be with them.
Great.
And Deanna can relax now. So.
And we have similar capabilities with GL for journal transactions and your standard GL budget. So if you want to post an allocation, an accrual, or like, let's say you have an external payroll service that gives you a GL journal, you can use the write back feature for that. It's very simple to use. You create a new sheet, fill in the blanks like we did for the forecast, and then click import. So let's say you have a simple journal transaction for AccuNet, branch, ledger, currency, and you can even enter revenue or an expense to a project or project task. Okay. In my case, I will simply do a very simple in and out entry just to show you the functionality. But once you have this, click import. Acumatica will verify, number one, that you have access to journal entries, same as it did for me earlier when I tried to import the forecast. And obviously, if the transaction is valid and balanced. So you'll see this, here's the transaction. You can take it off hold and release it at this time. The real power of this sheet here and the project forecast write back that we did is the flexibility of Excel, flexibility and simplicity of Excel formulas. So you can build your own model, create something that is very simple to use. You could work out existing Velixo functions here. So I only add this manual entry, but you could have actuals for period 1 here, and then use project forecast amount and retrieve the existing forecast that is in Acumatica. So there's a function for that as well that you'll be able to use, Michael. Okay? Quick question, in the interest of time, how much time do we have left?
Cassidy, you got that? I think we're getting close, aren't we?
Yeah, the cutoff time was 1 p.m., so about 20 minutes.
Perfect. Okay, so we're having a lot of fun, and I think we should do these unrehearsed things once in a while. There's a question from Tom that I think I will address right away. Would it make sense to use a solution like the project forecast write back instead of the change order process in Acumatica? Tom, we have received requests from customers that would like to have a write back like that for Acumatica change orders. When we built the forecast write back, the change order workflow was not yet finalized. It was still in customization, I believe, so we did not initially support that, and this was not the primary use case. But we are considering adding this in the future, and it would work very, very similarly as what you just saw with the project forecast write back. So you could create or update new change orders by using Excel with Velixo. Okay, so that was a pretty cool example. Thanks for bringing this up, Mike. But let's get back to GIs, because we have yet to find find a scenario where we have a generic inquiry. So project expenses that was mentioned earlier, and I think I will use this one next. And I'll go to my construction company, go to payables, and go to the bills and adjustment screens. What you see right now is an Acumatica generic inquiry. So all the list entry screens that you use in Acumatica are built by using an Acumatica generic inquiry. Generic inquiries are very flexible because you can sort, you can search. So if I'm looking for Acme here, I can type that. I can sort by column. I can create my own filters that I can save. I can export this to Excel. And best of all, behind the scenes, you can even customize this and add your own columns. It can be standard Acumatica columns or even custom attributes that you added to your system. So it's very easy to add things like the project code here. I think it's listed somewhere. Project, where is it? Yep, we have it right here with a funky formula, but the project is indeed displayed right here. Actually, we don't have a project set up for anyone. I think this is because this environment is set up to have projects at the line level. So actually, yeah, we'll use this one anyway. We have project lines, project transactions inquiry. Let's see if this one would be a better fit. Yeah, I think this one would be a better fit for Excel. So let's go to edit here. And I want to make sure that my generic inquiry is accessible from Excel. So I just need to check expose via OData. And then I think it's the inquiry title or the sitemap title. I'm just not sure. I build this, but sometimes I forget things. So let's go to Excel here and type equal GI demo and then custom project transactions inquiry. Let's press enter and we'll see if that was the right one. Yes, I think it is loading. So the inquiry title, yeah. So Excel will retrieve all the different transactions that were in this inquiry. I see every single column, every single values, and then if I want, I can refine this. So let's say I'm only interested in the customer or vendor, the ref number, the project, the date, the description, and we have amount normal here. I think it's amount normal. Let's try it this way. Enter. So you can easily decide what is returned. You can add your own formatting. Let's make sure to format that date to a date. Amount here. Okay. And then you can even add filters. So if you want to restrict this to a single customer, I can add a filter that will only look at transactions for the customer that I selected. Actually, let's pick another one that has more transactions, CJO equipped. Okay, so the filter needs to be set here as part of the GI function. Acumatica uses a very special language called OData. I don't expect anyone on this call to be an OData ninja or programmer, so fortunately for you, we built a very simple tool for filtering your GIs. Just do equal GI filter, and then the name of your inquiry, the name of the column that you want to filter on, and the value. And you can repeat this over and over if you have additional columns you want to filter on. You could even filter by amount. So if you want everything that is greater than 1,000, you could do it this way. It's very simple. So GI filter gives you this OData filter, okay, that Acumatica expects. So this is actually the value that I will put here in my filter. I'll press enter, and as soon as I press enter, you see that this grid refreshes. Through the GI function, if there is anything in Acumatica that you want to include in your report and that is not available in the standard project function that we look at, you can use the GI function for this purpose. We actually have the GI function used in a few areas of this report. In the portfolio section, the list of projects is a GI. So this is all the GIs filtered by project manager. In the aging report, we have a list of projects by status, and then we're looking at invoice amount. So we have another sheet in the file that has all the balances. Standard Excel stuff, but made very powerful with the GI functions. Again, don't forget that anything that you build in Velixo can then be refreshed in a single click. Just click refresh all here, and you will get up-to-date information from Acumatica, and it's very, very quick as well. The last topic that I would like to cover with you today, and by the way, thanks for your time. I see that everyone stayed for the entire lunch and learn. I hope you found this entertaining, useful at the same time, and that you are interested in learning more about Velixo. So thanks everyone for being on this call today, and thanks again to the Acunet team for setting up this meeting and inviting people from the Acumatica community to attend. The last topic that we will be covering today relates to report distribution. One question that you might have at this point is whether or not I can take these files and send them to people that don't have access to Acumatica or don't have Velixo installed. And the answer is absolutely yes. We have different tools available that you can use to take these files and format them for distribution. First of all, you can use the copy workbook without formulas button here that will take any Excel spreadsheet and create a snapshot or a copy of this file without any of the special formulas that you use to access Acumatica data. You end up with a file like this one that has values instead of functions. And nicely enough, the standard Excel functions like the sum we have here and the percentage calculation here still remains in your file. So this is still a plain Excel workbook that can be opened by anyone. If you need to send reports to multiple people through a distribution list, through email, or if you need to share these files on your network or on your cloud storage service like Dropbox, you can use something that Velixo has, and that is called report distribution. Okay, so just give me 1 minute. So it's called report distribution. With this tool, you can generate multiple versions of your reports. You can take out some of the content that you don't need. So maybe you don't want to send the entire package. Maybe it's just this P&L here. You can automate that as well during this process. If you're building project reports, you could also use report distribution to change arguments and filters on the report. So let's say you have this project report here, and you want to run the same report for another project. So let's say 1003 restaurant. So you could automate this as well during report distribution. This feature is available right here in the Acumatica toolbar. You just create a distribution list, and you end up with a spreadsheet that looks like this one. So I will simply use an existing distribution list that I built earlier to illustrate this feature. As you can see, this is basically a list of all the different reports that you need. You specify the file format, file name, the tab selection, so the sheets that need to be included, where you want the file to be saved, email if you want to use email, and then email body, subject, and so on. At the end of my list, I have this column here called branch name. Branch name is something that I added to my distribution list, and it actually links to a name range in my spreadsheet, branch name right here. So in this example, I will be changing the branch to services East, services West for the different reports that I will be running. But if you're building a project report, you could also have something like that, project code, and then in your distribution, you could be changing to different projects. So definitely possible by using report distribution in Velixo. One last thing that I would like to point out, actually, no, let's run this as is first. It will be simpler for everyone to follow. So I will just select these lines here, click, let's start Outlook first. Now we'll click distribute selected rows. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reports. So now is the perfect time to have a drink, a sip of coffee, tea for people calling it from UK. We have people sometimes. I'll always make sure to mention that this is good for tea time as well. This is the magical do everything for me button in Velixo. Once this is done, you will have all your reports ready to be sent to customers. So let's take a look at Outlook. I've asked the system to create and open drafts, so they're already open right here. So we have this one that includes my spreadsheet. I have another one here that was exported in PDF format, so just 2 sheets, my dashboard and the P&L. In some cases, you might want to generate multiple sheets as well. So let's take this one as an example. This is possible. So I took the same profit and loss and generated multiple sheets, all within the same file. If you have a template, again, let's go back to our project report like this one. You could take this single project template and then multiply it for every single project that needs to be included in the report that you generate. So that can be very useful as well in project scenarios. If you want the project manager to receive a copy weekly of the project with status of all the different project tasks, cost code, and so on, you can do that and automate that. Finally, and this is a new addition to Velixo, you can send emails that will include information from the file directly in the email message. I have 2 examples here, going to my CEO and my CFO, and we're using a range from my profit and loss here, C10 through E15, and then an income statement. So income statement, this is a name range, again, that we set up in the name box. So this will take this entire section and put this into an email message. So just for clarity, I will close all the previous drafts. Oh, actually, I think they were already, no, okay, let's close that. Close that here. Okay, I think we're good to go. So let's just take these 2 examples now. Distribute selected rows, 2 reports, 1, 2. Fantastic. So P&L, so this is a subset from the P&L sheet. And the other example is the income statement. Okay, so it's very simple to set up, create a new list, specify the entries that you want, and then distribute. Actually, it's so simple that I'll do 1 project example just for you. So I'll create a new distribution list. We'll use Excel here, project sample. I want my project report, and this one will save to my computer. And what else? Okay, so let's leave it as is, distribute selected rows. And now if I go to C10 here, I will have my very simple project report that will include only 1 sheet, the project report, and it's all there with the latest Acumatica data. This is called automated report distribution. This is in the Acumatica toolbar, just like all the other tools that you saw today in the presentation. There's actually, I lied to you earlier, I said that we would be looking at everything. I think we forgot a few things like I-zeros, but it's all there for you. It's simple to use. And every single function and tool that you saw today in my presentation is included in your Velixo license. There's one price, it's for every user, and it includes everything that you saw in my demonstration today. And the best part is that you can do it yourself if you're an Excel user. Thanks.
Yeah, I think the key point, you mentioned a lot of other Excel-based report writers that have tried to do this before, and a lot of those have limitations, like they just report on financial information, for example. They don't include project. or you have to pay extra for the project, or you have to pay extra for report distribution, where that's all included with Velixo. So the idea is to make this the reporting tool for your ERP system and take advantage of all these features and streamline it so that project managers, department managers, company managers, boards of directors, get this automated report pack that you offer them and save all that time, weekly and monthly. So it's fantastic. Cassidy, did you have a few questions yet that we haven't presented?
Let me check.
While she's looking that up, we had some pretty good dialogue coming from existing customers, and people were thinking about the package. So I've got my contact information up on the screen. If anybody had any trouble with the Grubhub free lunch, just contact myself and Cassidy. We'll get that straightened around for you. Appreciate it. And any other closing thoughts there, Michelle or Gabriel?
It's always a pleasure presenting for the Acunet team, Michael. I'm glad that we had this wonderful turnout. I hope the food was good. I will have lunch here right away once we're done. I'll be happy to answer any follow-up questions. If you want to build new reports with me on a Teams call, it's always a pleasure, and we'll have lots of fun as usual.
Well, and that's a good point. I mean, the product is fantastic, but Gabriel and his team come with this package, and they can help us, solve complex customer problems, and are very supportive in adding new features, as you talked about the new feature that's coming out, which will help one of our clients for the right back on change orders. So, he's constantly improving the product. You have a brilliant team that's really enhancing the product, and it's just a superior tool.
Thanks.
Cassie, do you have anything else to close with?
I know we covered so much material. There's just a couple things that stood out that you may have already covered, but we can touch back on. Just one of the questions were, what happens to the reports when we upgrade Acumatica?
There's absolutely no change needed to your reports. We are always on top of new Acumatica releases, and we usually get our solutions certified before the new version of Acumatica is out. A big part of why we're doing this so quickly is because Acumatica is one of our customers, and Acumatica always updates their internal ERP a few months before the official release. So if something was to break, Nigel would be the first one calling me and letting me know that his reports are not working. So this hasn't been an issue, but we're like always testing and ensuring that everything is fully supported. And the same goes with all the new Excel versions. So in terms of compatibility, we support Excel 2010 or later on the Excel side, and also on the Acumatica side, everything starting with Acumatica 5.3. So that's getting quite old. I'm not sure if there's anyone still running 5.3, but I mean 6.0, 2017, 18, 19, that's not a problem. And we do have customers running some of these older versions. By the way, I forgot to mention that we have a Mac and Excel online version that is now available for early adopters. I need to work this in my usual demo, but you can now get Velixo from the Office add-in store, and it will work for existing Velixo clients. So it's not, I said Office store, this is not a place where you can purchase Velixo, but this is how you install it if you're running on a Mac. And it's the same experience. At this point, it's limited to the financial functions and drill down, but we are going to roll out generic inquiries, project functions, and write back over the next few months.
Excellent.
Great. All right.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. My contact information is on the screen. I encourage anybody to send me an email with follow-up questions, and we'll work on some of these questions. We're in the chat and make sure I think we answered the questions, but we'll make sure that we close those issues up and get those customers rolling on single sign-on and some of these other budget enhancements. So thank you so much, Gabriel. We'll let you go.
Thanks. Have a nice afternoon and nice lunch to people who are still eating. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.